With the 12.8 patches come some brand new weapon platforms, but also some new additions to some old favorites such as the Vepr Hunter. So today we're going to go over all of the new weapon platforms and the best ways that you can modify them to get the most out of each of the guns. So we're going to start things off with the KS-23M. Now this is the most OP thing I've seen added to this game in a huge time. Now, the slugs themselves, or I don't know if you can call them slugs, the sort of shrapnel rounds, if all of them actually hit legs, so if you're within roughly about 5 meters and you shoot at the legs, it instantly kills them. But this is not actually the most OP thing about these shotguns. They have a flash round which is absolutely ridiculous. If you shoot this even roughly in the direction of the person who is looking at you, they will get a massive flashbang effect right in the middle of their vision, allowing you to easily dip off to the side, swap weapons, and gun them down with ease. Or you can even just run up to them and give them a tap. As you can see here, I'm completely helpless against anything that happens to me here. Now, my best guess is that this is going to be changed in the very near future, and if it's not, we're going to see a lot of people leave Tarkov, because it's incredibly annoying to not be able to fight back at all, and being flashed to this extent is just ridiculous. So as you guys can see, within around about 10 meters, it's very easy to get that cluster within a single leg hitbox, but if you're shooting at sort of the middle of the legs there, you're very likely going to knock them both out anyway. Right, so up next we're onto the Vepr Hunter, which is another very OP gun. This time it's had a couple of additions in terms of a stock, so the SVD style stock, and then also the Rotor 43 suppressor. So with all these parts combined, we get down to 176 vertical recoil, which is actually pretty good for how cheap the gun is. Now the other additions to this are fairly basic, guys. We're just using an SVD low side mount to actually get it nice and close down to the dust cover there, and then we've put a Cobra sight on top because the Cobra actually does give you a reduction in recoil. Aside from that, it's just 10 round magazine, slap it in, M61, and you're good to go. One other thing to mention is with the addition of 12.8, you can also load the chamber by pressing R. If there's any loose ammo in your pockets or in your vest, it'll actually load that straight into the chamber and you can fire off from there. Right, so onto the Celtic RFB. Now, this is a really cool gun. I was really hoping this was going to be a little bit better. It ends up being at about 121 vertical recoil when in its max and slot build, which consists of an RK2 foregrip, the RFB thread spacer, the A3 adapter for the blast mitigation device, the blast mitigation device itself, and then the Lantac Dragon. You can also chuck M-bus front and rear sights on this for a little bit of extra ergo, and then the Cobra sight on to again knock off those extra recoil points. Now, although this does have relatively high recoil compared to some of the other guns in the sort of 308 category, it has an incredibly short barrel, which means you can maneuver through doorways and stuff on places like factory and customs without getting your gun bumped back, which is going to give you a massive advantage if you're pushing up close to other players. Now, I've been playing around with the Colt M45A1 for a little bit now, and using the rip rounds in it, it is incredibly powerful. Now, this is actually making me a little bit cautious of when the Vector is added to the game, because as you guys can see here, I'm pretty much 1 or 2 tapping all of these scavs to the thorax, which is very, very strong. Now, I know they are unarmored, but once we have the Vector added to the game, we're shooting this stuff off at incredibly high rates of fire. This is going to be a scary, scary thing to come up against. Now, the gun itself isn't particularly spectacular. It does have a compensator which can be mounted to the front, and you can also have a slot to mount lasers on the bottom, but at the moment there are no sight rails in the game for it. Now, the M45A1 does come with the 11 round magazines as well. Definitely the biggest hindrance to this gun though is the rate of fire. If you're clicking as fast as you can with this, you're going to skip a lot of shots just based on the fact that you do need to be clicking a lot slower and be in rhythm with this gun to actually get it going at its maximum fire rate, because you are definitely going to be able to click faster than that. Alrighty boys, now a huge thanks for 700 subscribers. We got retweeted by BSG the other day, and our video on how to cure heavy bleeds did incredibly well. So if you guys have come through from that, thank you very, very much for subscribing. We're getting super, super close to 1K, so if you guys aren't subbed already, sub would be much appreciated. Aside from that, boys, I will see you around on the next one. Peace out.